I'm Brooke and this is Pippa, and we travel full-time in my Honda CRV. Wait, that doesn't feel right. We travel full-time in my Honda. We live and travel full-time out of my Honda CRV. That's just not right. Hi, I'm Brooke and that is Pippa, and we travel full-time out of my 1990 Coleman Pop Up. Hi guys, we moved out of the car. Yes, you heard that right. We moved out of our Honda CRV and we are now traveling in a pop-up camper. I have been working on figuring out this upgrade for months, and I'm so excited that we get to finally show you our pop-up camper and everything that goes along with it. So I know you guys are going to want to see it first. So I'm just going to kind of talk about the pop-up while you guys get to see the clips of everything that's in here. I'm just kind of showing you the pop-up with none of my stuff moved in yet. I'm going to do an official tour once I get everything settled and moved in. I don't quite have everything down pat just yet, but once I do, I will upload a official camper tour so you can see how I placed everything I do have inside the camper. This is just how it was right after I purchased it and cleaned up a little bit. So the first thing about this pop-up, it's a 1990 Coleman Newport pop-up. It's about 10 feet long when it's closed, and when it's open, it's about 20. I have two full-sized beds, which is amazing. So Pippa gets her own area during the day, and I get my own full-size bed that I can sleep with Pippa at night, so I can stretch out now, which is really exciting. This camper without anything in it weighs about 1,100 pounds, which is well within the towing capacity of my Honda CRV. I'm sitting at around 1,300 pounds, so I do have some wiggle room, but I try not to carry too much in the actual camper when I'm towing, and I do put a lot of stuff back in the car. I purchased this pop-up off of Facebook Marketplace. I found somebody who was selling one, and I got it for $1,500. So this was a very cost-effective upgrade for me, which is why I chose it. This pop-up doesn't have a bathroom or a shower or anything, but it does have a sink and a stove, and I have plugged in my refrigerator in here. So I do have some amenities, but I didn't want to do a huge jump from the car to the camper because I didn't want it to be too much of an upgrade to where I was overwhelmed and didn't enjoy then camping out of this. I actually purchased this pop-up back in June, and it had some repairs that needed to be made, and so it had been sitting for a while at the repair shop, which is why I haven't posted about it, but I have owned it since then, and I have a ton of vlog footage of what I did in between to go get it registered and everything like that. So look out for those videos because I have a ton of that kind of content coming out as well. One of my main concerns was that I didn't want to have to purchase a new car to be able to tow it. So this is why I chose such a cost-effective and kind of small upgrade. I was very overwhelmed when I previously owned a Class C motorhome, and I had some very specific wants out of my upgrade, which was cooking inside when it's windy or rainy. I really wanted it to have a heater so I could do some more fall camping instead of having to head south right away. And I also wanted to obviously be able to stand up so I could change and move around and have a dedicated workspace separate from my sleeping space. And obviously the benefit of having more space for me and the dog is always something I wanted to do. Another reason I chose a pop-up instead of getting an actual RV or a van or something like that is because I can leave it at my campsite when I go and run and do errands. So when I go shower, go grocery shopping, go do laundry, etc., I can leave it at my campsite and I don't have to break things down every single time I want to leave. That gets very overwhelming to do all the time, even if in the car I'm just kind of rearranging things and then I don't know if my campsite is going to be there when I come back. So now when I go somewhere, I can park there and I can just set up camp and I can lock up the camper and leave it when I go do errands, and it makes things so much easier. I also now have full use of my car again, which is going to be amazing. I haven't quite taken out the bed yet like you saw in the first clip, but I have taken a lot of stuff out of the car, and it's so much nicer to make room for new things I can go do on the road and have my vehicle just as a vehicle. Because if I want to go now sightsee or do anything, I'm not bringing everything I own with me all of the time. I have so many things I want to show you about this camper, but this is kind of just an introductory video to tell you why I guess I moved out of the car. And honestly, it was just time for me to move out of the car. I know a lot of you are new followers and you may not know all of my story, but moving into the car was never something I had anticipated or really wanted to do. I had been car camping a lot in the past, but I never really had signed up to to do it full time. Last May when I moved into the car was a really hard time in my life. I just kind of made the best of a kind of terrible situation, and as time went on and I saved up more money, it became more of a choice to live and travel in the car. But I'm not saying that because it was easy towards the end that it was easy at the beginning, and I always have wanted to get back into RV type travel. That's what I started in. I started in a Class C RV, and this is just a natural progression for me. It's not saying that I hate car camping, but once you live in a car full time for 15 months, I stayed in a hotel for 2 nights the entire time I lived in my car, and I stayed at a friend's house for 1 week, and that was the only time in 15 months I was out of the car. And it does drain and like take a toll on you mentally, but I knew this was my end goal and wanting to save up for a camper and to also save up for another vehicle. I mainly started saving up for a new vehicle because my Honda is older and has a lot of miles. So to be able to purchase this first was really exciting for me, and I'm so glad because it's the perfect size for me and Pippa. I'm so glad that I didn't go any bigger. I didn't want it to be super overwhelming to move out of the car into something else, and this has been the perfect transition for Pippa and I. Pippa has obviously adjusted so well, and I do plan on doing some renovations in here to fix everything up, but honestly the canvas in here looks amazing. A lot of the original stuff in here works just fine, and so other than aesthetics, I really have nothing to do in this camper to make it livable. I have been living in it now for a couple weeks, and I'm so excited to be able to finally share it with all of you, and I've been keeping it a little bit of a secret. I know a few of you caught it in one of my vlogs, but that was right before I took it to go get repaired, and so you'll kind of see that saga in those vlogs like I talked about. But I was just really ready for an upgrade. I was really ready for some new space, and I wanted to do something that was super approachable, that could be a natural progression for other people who maybe have been living in a vehicle and didn't know that something like this was an option. Pop-up campers I think are really underrated. I've been looking at pop-ups since I moved out of my Class C RV because you get the most space for the least amount of towing weight that you can have. So it's huge in here once it's popped up, and when it's closed, it's super tiny. It's really easy to tow. I haven't had to do anything different and hasn't really affected my gas mileage all that much, except for when I'm going up mountains. But I just take it really slow, and I'm really easy on my car that way because I also don't want to put any strain on my transmission. But the fact that then it pops up to double the size, and you get all this space, you get all this natural light. I can open up all these screens and all these windows so I can live and work in here and be able to see the gorgeous panoramic views that I'm used to in the car. I don't like the look of a lot of campers on the inside because they are so dark, because I know the windows make them hot. But with this, you really have so much airflow and so much cross breeze that happens. It has been so perfect for Pippa and I. So if you haven't considered a pop-up camper, I know that they have like a weird reputation in the RV world, but it has been such a great purchase for me. I know you guys probably have tons and tons and tons and tons of questions about the pop-up and everything like that, and I just can't anticipate what you guys are going to ask. So please leave any questions or comments down below about the pop-up, and I will do a Q&A video and answer as many of them as I possibly can. And now that I have more space, I would love to do some more YouTube lives. I haven't done them in a really long time, but I would love to do some YouTube lives to also talk about the camper and talk about anything that you guys have questions about with the transition and all of that. So please leave them down below because I just can't anticipate what people are going to ask. So I will make that video in the future. I will be posting a camper tour once I have all my stuff in it, and I will also be posting those vlogs of what I did all July to prepare for the camper. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.